Ten hut! Good. Welcome to Uncle Sam's Magic Corps, the new USMC. I am your instructor. My name is Richard Vigorelli, and I will be inducting you into the most prestigious part of the Corps, my beloved Corps. I'm sorry, are you laughing? We have us a private joker here. Crucio! Hello everybody, my name is Richard Vigorelli and I am your guide for, well, what is amounting to be magic. This is kind of a part 3, but it's also a little bit of an answer to a video that I just watched done by Shadiversity, who by the way is one of my favorite YouTubers. Love the guy. And by the way, sir, you have a standing invitation to my place. Should you ever decide to come to the States, it would be an honor. Now, he just did a video on what it would be like to have magic users in any form of military, okay? And I think his findings are very accurate. I do want to add in a couple of things though, okay? Now, like he said, depending on how common magic users are and how intense the use of magic would be. That is, how much of a cost there is, how much of a benefit to that cost there is, how much training is involved, and so forth. How common would that actually be in the military? Well, if it is in 10 to 20% of the population, there's going to be a part of the military devoted to magic. I guarantee it. Whether or not it's healing magic, illusion magic, destructive magic, conjuring magic, barrier magic, warding magic, anything like that. There's going to be somebody there that can do it. There's going to be a group of individuals that are specifically trained and specifically schooled to perform that form of magic. Okay, just like he said. Now, depending on the commonality of it, it will A, be a specific corps, such as we got our gun dudes, we've got our tank dudes, we've got our flying dudes, we've got our boat dudes, and then we've got our magic dudes over here. Okay. They also might, depending on the specific theater of war or the specific war doctrine. War doctrine, by the way, is, okay, this is how we're going to do our battles. If it works, we'll change it. If it doesn't work, we'll change it. If it does work, let's keep going and improve on it. Okay. There might actually be a magic user in every single squad. Just like there's a communication guy, there's a demolitions guy, there's a medical guy, there's a leader guy, etc. Okay? There would be a wizard, a sorcerer, a witch, something. Okay? It also kind of depends on what you're fighting. Because if you were fighting a war against creatures that use ice as a power, ice magic would probably be kind of useless because, you know, you're just throwing what they are back at them, and that's dumb. Okay? Whereas fire magic could be useful. Okay? Now, anybody using destructive magic, yes, would basically be a living, breathing weapon. They wouldn't have to be armed unless they need something like this. Yes, this is my wand. I built it. I'll do a video on this later. No worries. Pop that over there. Okay, so if they need something like that, something that is easily made, you can probably leave it up to either a government issue crafter, which usually doesn't go well, an independent contracted crafter, or the individual guy in the service to make his own thing. It just kind of depends on your doctrine and how much money you're willing to throw at it. Okay? I would also expect the use of what the Harry Potter universe would call the Unforgivables to become quite commonplace. That's why I mentioned Crucio. Because, well, at least in the old days of the Marine Corps, from what my uncles told me, you mouth off, you had a bad day. You'd get beaten up, you'd be forced to do stuff that you didn't want to do, or everybody around you would be made to do it. I don't know if you've seen Full Metal Jacket. Highly recommended. Big guy gets caught with a donut in his Foot Locker, famous scene. And because he's very clearly addicted to eating it, drill instructor says, all right, well, since I can't fix you, I'm going to fix everybody else. So he makes everybody else do extra training. Well, he just sits there and eats it. And he pays for it that night. They have what is called a blanket party. Watch the movie to know what that is. It's not good. It's not fun. It's not great. Okay? So, getting back to topic. Having magic users in the military would most definitely be a game changer. This would be as something that you could not do without in a world that had magic in it. Just because the other guys are probably going to use something of it, and if they're not, they're idiots. Okay? Depending on what the cost is of using the magic, how intense the prep is for a given spell, and the area of effect and usefulness of the magic in war would be outstanding. Even in the modern day, God, if I can just wave my hand and a shield pops up that can block bullets, guess what we're using, okay? If I can just point a stick at somebody, say a funny word, and all of the sudden a jet of fire shoots out, and I can just go like that, and I don't need fuel, I don't need to carry a big piece of equipment on my back, and I don't need to worry about any kind of accidental damage or discharge affecting my equipment. I can basically go into a room and clear it of the bad guys that I just don't like all by my lonesome. I don't have to worry about ammunition. The only thing I have to worry about is carrying my stick, having enough food and or water, and whatever else that I get my basic energy from so that I can turn it into magic and do the thing that I'm doing. That would be huge. One of the main issues would be just like the issues with any other technology that we have or have had in battle. That is the talent of using it, the availability of it, and the effectiveness of it. Okay? That's great if you've got yourself a boomstick. If you don't know how to aim, and every single time you let off one and it doesn't do anything of value, it's useless. There's no reason to have it. If the thing that makes it dangerous doesn't exist for you, then this thing's worthless. Okay? That's actually ended quite a few armies. And largely the best way to get a army to lose a fight is to make them not want to fight anymore. That's in the art of war. The best way to win is without fighting. The second best way to win is to win with fighting, and the worst way to win is to win through siege. Okay? That's art of war. Very paraphrased. Okay? So I would expect, depending on the type of warfare we're waging, certain spells to be used, other spells not to be used. Just like in the modern day, certain weapons are used and others are or are not, depending on the situation. There are certain tactics you use in a forest that you would never consider using in a open plain or desert. There are certain things you would do in a city that you would never consider doing in a forest because that would be idiotic. Okay? The tactics change. And with that, so would the use of magic, just like the use of certain armaments change. Okay? For example, let's say that I am restricted to melee combat and I'm in a big old open field and there's hundreds of guys in front of me and hundreds of my friends beside me. What am I going to be armed with? I'm either going to be armed with a sword or a spear. Okay? And there's going to be some stabbing and slashing motions. Okay? Meanwhile, let's say I'm still restricted to melee combat and I'm stuck in a very, very small room. I'm not going to use a spear. That thing would be beyond useless because I can't do anything with it. I'm stuck. I can only do this. I can't swing it at anything. I can't block. Okay? I'm stuck. Same thing happens with a longsword. Okay? Longsword on an open field, that thing's awesome. I got plenty of reach. I can do a bunch of slashes. It's great. You put me in like a standard suburban house, longsword, I can't use it. I can only do one thing, and it's really easy to beat. Okay? Meanwhile, if I've got a short sword, totally different game. Now I can do all the things. Easy peasy. Okay? You'll find that in close quarters, the smaller the weapon, the better off you are. Whereas in far quarters, not close quarters, yes, the bigger the weapon, the better chance you have of doing things. Okay? Magic would fall in a very, very similar fashion. I wouldn't usually use a zone of effect in a close quarter situation, unless that zone of effect was to give me, the caster, something, and my friend something, and take something away from our enemy. Okay? Then I do a zone of effect. But usually I'm going to be doing pinpoint type spells, some kind of element, some kind of thing to make them stay put and not hurt us, some kind of defense, something like that, that I could focus on the thing that's trying to hurt us. Okay? Meanwhile, in a field battle, me just concentrating on the guy right in front of me would kind of be ridiculous because he's got friends. Okay? And they're on either side and going out that way. So a zone of effect would be much more useful. I would also like to throw things into the back ranks. That way when the front guys get tired, the back ranks can't cycle forward and replenish the numbers. Okay? If they're either out of commission or they just said, you know what, I'm done, bye, and went home, guess what? All I got to do is take out that fewer number of bad guys. Okay? All I got to do. Okay. Let's see here. Healing magic kind of depends. Now, if it's healing magic and I use a zone of effect, I'm going to have to restrict that zone of effect, meaning I'm going to have to aim behind me in order to not fix the guys I don't want to fix. Okay? Or I'm going to have some kind of locator beacon, a talisman, that my spell is going to specifically look for, that will activate the talisman and cause my guy to heal. Okay? And that would be standard issue for everyone. Don't lose this. I would actually have it emplaced into their armor or specific identifier saying, yes, they're part of my country. That way, when it comes time to drop a heal on them, I can actually do it and I don't have to care about where they are. That would be technology. Okay? I know, magic and technology. True. All right. Meanwhile, if I'm doing point, basically my magic user would not be a general fighter. He would most likely be a specialist, a medical specialist, just like in all armies today. Yes, as a medical unit in, say, the U.S. Army, you are trained to use a weapon. and you would probably only carry like a pistol or something into battle, but most likely not, because one, it's going to weigh you down. Two, the probability of you needing to use it is low. So why add on the extra weight? And besides that, you've got to lift this, 220-pound muscle-bound Hulk with all of his gear and all of your gear and drag it to the back of the lines so that you can keep him from dying. Okay? You're not going to be... Also, one of the rules of warfare is if you have a weapon, you're the enemy. Okay? If you don't look like me and you are armed, I'm going to hurt you. Just the way war works. Okay? I feel like I'm rambling. Anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on the whole thing. If you have never seen Shadiversity before and are interested in things like medieval warfare, how weapons work, how fantasy works, even how some sci-fi works, and you want to hear it from a very intelligent guy with an Aussie accent, go ahead and check him out. If you're new to my channel, hit the big red subscribe button. Leave a like, leave a comment, and please feel free to share this around. Let's get stuff going here, huh? What do you say? Also, I have a Patreon account, and if you would like to support me in my work, also have input on the videos, it would be very welcomed. You can find that on Patreon at Vigorelli_Institute, and we'll go from there. Okay, guys? Take care. Bye-bye.